Okay. And let's see if I can get this situated. This is more of an impromptu one. Normally, I've been doing some preps to tie flies using this other setup, but I just learned today that they stocked the Blue River with trout yesterday. I thought it was going to be next week, so I was thinking of just tying some flies and doing a little demo thing on there. But right now, I better tie some because I need to prep for this upcoming weekend. Making a run across the border to maybe the Blue River. Who knows? All right, so the ones that I'm short on are I need some more squirmy worms, some more mop flies, and then I need some more olive near deer, which is a variant of the olive woolly bugger. Okay, and just trying to go through my stuff here, just make sure I have everything. It's been a while since I tied some of these, and I think I may. Yeah, okay, there's that one. I think I got another one I'm looking for that has a chenille-like thing that's kind of thinner. And here's a thicker one. Let's see. There should be a thinner one in here, unless it's in another one of my containers. I'm not one of these ones that's really organized when it comes to my stuff. I start organizing at the beginning of the season, and next thing I know, I've not kept up with things, but here's a brown one. Oh, here's some of these other deals. Here's a chenille-like one that we probably need to keep in our back pocket. Why did this one fall out? I think it came out of the container here. So let's go and take care of that. All right. So yeah, I'll start out with, we'll start out with the harder one, which is the near deer, and the other ones are pretty quick tie. All right. And what I like usually doing is at least have 3 of the olive near deer, and then I'll follow it with some other colors. And I think I'm going to go with this little chenille-like one. I think that might be a good one. Or here's the other traditional one that you can use also. All right. Okay, so let's get these tied. Like I was saying, the Blue River was stocked recently, so we're going to see if we can do a little fishy tie here. Okay, hi, howdy. How's it going, Jose? Glad you're able to join. Just kind of giving you some background. Blue River in Oklahoma was stocked yesterday with trout, and I'm running low on some fishing flies, so I need to tie some flies. And these are ones that tend to usually get me a limit or two while I'm there during the season. Okay, looks like Eli is on. Hi, Eli. How's it going? So we'll start out with, let's see, this is a gold jig fly hook or whatever, and I believe it's the 1/124th ounce. So I've got 2 sizes, okay? This is the thicker or heavier one, 1/80th, and I believe this is the 1/24th, okay? And they're both size 10 hooks, okay? And these are these little jig fly hooks, okay? Let me show you close right there. Right there, I think you can get a better idea of what it looks like, okay? So we'll start with the hard one. This is probably the harder one to do, so we'll get that on there. And I'll get this started. Okay, so we're going to start it up with the hook. We're going to basically tie it upside down. All right, and just like most flies that you tie, we'll start out with, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. Let's see. No, I don't think I can zoom it in that good. Yeah, let's see. Let's move it out and then in a little. There we go. Let's try that. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so I think this is in the way maybe. Let me move this. Okay. So what I'm tying is a variant of the woolly bugger. tied very similar, but I think it's a lot faster. Plus, because you can change these size hooks, the 1/24th versus the 1/80th ounce, you can definitely work them. And I tend to use the lighter one when the water flow is not as strong. And then when we do have some heavy rains and whatnot, I'll definitely switch over to the 1/80th. I've also fished these tandem rig with this being the lead fly, and then I have another fly that'll be the trailing, usually a midge or let's see, maybe a nymph pattern or something. Okay, so let's lay the base here. All right, and it's just you'll be surprised. It's a fairly simple tie, and what throws me is how effective it can be. Okay, so just some olive Dacron tying thread, laying a base. Okay, and then I'll start a little hump right about here in the back. Okay, and I'll make sure that the hook is even with the jaws here. Okay, and that will tell me where the hook bend, or not the hook bend, but where the hook is going to meet where the shaft is right there. Looks like Jennifer is on. Hi, Jennifer. All right, so once we lay that thread base, next thing I want to do is grab some, where is it here? Right here, some marabou. Okay, and one of these ones where I use the whole deal and then I end up throwing it away, whatever pieces I have left. So what I'll do is I'll kind of squish it here like so. Okay, and I usually like making it, let's get a different one. Kind of like the ones that have a less or a more tapered look when you do that. Okay, all right, so we're going to do the length of the hook shank plus 1. So it's going to be the length of the hook shank, and then we're going to take it back right about there. So it's going to actually stick out a whole length on this marabou. Okay, and we'll get it tied in. Okay, just a couple of loose wraps to get it started. I'll usually pull the thread toward me back here, because as I tie in this direction, it's going to pull the marabou back in line so it's even with the shank. And then I'll go ahead and snip that off real quick, and then right here you can do a little adjustment before you actually tie it down, and then we'll get that tied in. Okay, all right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to put in some wire. Okay, some really thin wire right here, and I'll just kind of snip off the deal here. Okay, it doesn't take much. Okay, and the vise I'm using is a rotary peaked vise. I had some other vices over the years, and this is the one I settled in. I don't really use any need for another one. I think this is good enough. Repurpose the other ones I have to do other stuff, like tie other like jigs and what do you call it? Tube flies. I converted one into a tube fly. All right, and while we're here, might as well have a little sippy sip. All right, so I've got the wire on there now. Next thing you want to do is grab a saddle hackle. Okay, and I like tying these where it's Palmer wrapped as well as dry fly wrapped. For this variant, I'm going to tie it as a Palmer wrap. That means is you're going to have the hackle going from back to front, evenly spaced, to give it this little kind of bugginess feel. All right, and given the size of this, I'm going to probably pick one of these saddle hackles that's kind of thin, and I like getting this saddle hackle that's got the long thin deal. Like here's a good one right here. Ooh, yeah, let me get that out of here and I'll show you what I mean. Look at that. One like this, you can tie several flies with this. Okay, but what you want to do is you see where where this stuff is all bushy. You want to peel away some of that, and then you can cut it like so. Okay, and then you pop it like that. Just kind of clean it up a little bit. It should look like that. And then you want to make sure you're tying it concave side down. Okay, and let's see. We'll go ahead and get this one tied in. Okay, I'm going to start at an angle here and start tying it down. And again, it's gonna lay back behind me right here. Okay. All right. So far we've done one marabou plume. We did the wire. Okay. You can do gold. You can do silver. You can do red. It's up to you. Roughly how much is it take to start taking flies since jigs work better in the cold? I don't know. I don't know how much it is. I mean, I accumulated this stuff over the years, but you can buy some of these flies that cost you $3, $4, $5, $6 on. I think I got this deal of 50 of these jig heads for like $9. So, you know, I think these are under $1, if not less, for me to make. And what I do is I'll tend to focus on, instead of a whole wide range of flies and getting all this material that you never use, what I tend to do is I'll focus on some key flies that I use a lot, and therefore two things happen. I catch a lot of fish with it, or I lose a lot of those flies, and next thing I know, I'm having to purchase them again. Well, rather than purchasing them, I just go ahead and make them again. All right. So yeah, and the stuff I have here, the plume, I've restocked it, I think, once from last year. This hackle deal, I still got another one of these hackle deals, probably close to 5 years old. There's a whole bunch of flies you can tie with just one of these deals here. All right. When I first started, I got one of those $9.99 fly tying jigs, and let's see, didn't have much dinar to buy stuff, so this is one I made out of some wire here. If you get it like Hobby Lobby, or in this case, I kind of stole it from something else that I had. Got a little rubber or brass tubing here, and then a little bead here, and yeah, this is one of these homemade ones that I made. Also made some homemade of these whip finish, not whip finish tool. All right, this is the one I bought, but there's another one I made that's longer for making those ones with big legs. But when I first started, I learned how to tie a whip finish with just my fingers. Okay, so you should be able to get started fly tying for probably about $50 if you focus on a particular fly that you are that you use a lot. Right. A lot of times, I think a good one to start out with is the olive woolly bugger. That one has all kinds of ways, different tying techniques. That's great for a beginner. And in this case, this is very similar. It's just kind of cheating it because I'm using the jig head instead of putting some lead wire on here. Okay, so to recap, sorry, my dog's barking. To recap, one plume of olive marabou, followed by the gold wire in this case, thin, and then a saddle hackle. I'm using a grizzly hackle to give it that bugginess, so it's black and white. And then the next thing is I'll tie in some chenille. Okay. When I do the chenille, what I'll do is I'll leave it on the cardboard like so. And then when I prep it for the tie, you want to kind of pull off some of the material so that you have that bare deal right there. Okay. Bare thread. And that is what you're going to tie in. Okay. So let me bring it back in here real quick. And we'll tie it in. Start with some loose wraps. Okay. Get it secured. All right. And then I'll take it all the way to the front. I got it all the way to the front, and I'll just do a half hitch, hold it in place. And I'll grab this little deal that I have that'll hold the thread in place right over here for the bobbin to sit. Okay. This one came with the fly tying vise. And then this will just kind of hang. I'll take up some of it because I used to cut it off and then I would have a bunch of, extra. Now I just leave it on here because really all you're going to do is just rotate it and cover. Just do a build up the body. Actually, no, I want it to go back a little bit more. Okay, we'll build up the body. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. That's it. That's all I needed. Okay. And let's go ahead and tie it in place. So quick rule of thumb. And I learned this from one of the fly tying classes from the Dallas Fly Fishers is, excuse the dog. So do 1, 2 wraps behind, do 1, 2 wraps ahead, and then 1 and 2 in front. And then at that point, you can, oops, sorry. At that point, you can cut your chenille off and you're done. And it shouldn't slip off while you finish tying the rest of the fly. Okay. And then another thing I learned from an old timer was that you can, when you're cutting material, if you always keep the rule of thumb of just dropping your bobbin and let the thread lay below the fly pattern that you're tying and cut only above, very unlikely you're going to accidentally cut the thread. All right. I've done that many times. And then someone, an old timer dude says, hey, quit doing that and just cut above. As long as you have your thread down here and you cut up here, you're not going to cut your thread. Okay. So next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and prep the hackle now. Okay. There's on my other deal, oh, the dog's barking, sorry. On my other deal, I have like a little clip that'll hold this in place. I don't have one for this one. I just kind of let it hang there. And then here is the grizzly hackle. That's the thing, the next thing that we're going to do, and palmer wrap it. And then I'll grab it with these hackle pliers. And Charlie, actually, oh, wait a minute. Shoot. He's on the other side of the, bear with me. He's on the other side of my gate here. And he's trying to tell me I need to let him out. Holy cow. How did you get there, buddy? What were you doing over there? Come on. All right. Well, now that you interrupted my fly tying deal, you're going to have to meet the crew here. All right. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Charlie's apologizes. You guys say sorry. All right. Okay, Charlie? Yeah, he got stuck on the other side of the fence, so bummer. Okay. All right. Where was I? We're getting ready to tie in the hackle now. Okay. And when I say the hackle, we're going to do a palmer wrap. Okay. Where you go from front or from back to front, and you want to kind of evenly space it like so. And you're going to build up that body. And there you go. All right. And this is going to be more of a thinner looking one. I've tied them longer, but this one's going to be a short body because I remember last year at a certain time, all they wanted was the, I don't know, this little short bodied one. So what kind of pup is it? That is a Maltese. His name is Charlie, and he is a pretty cool dog. I really like him. Okay, let's go ahead and do another tie here. Okay, so now that I've got the hackle on there, the next thing now is to tie in the gold wire. Okay, and here what you want to do is I usually just kind of shake it back and forth just to get through the fibers of the hackle. And the main reason why you're using this is these things get beat up. When those trout are just tearing it up, they'll beat it up to include cutting off some of this hackle, and next thing you know, it's going to come apart on you. Okay. And what you want to do is use this wire. Plus, it gives a little segmentation, sort of like what a one of these bugs would look like. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 in the front, or 2 in the back, 2 in the front. Lock it down. Okay, and then what is it? A lot of folks do is they'll helicopter it. Okay, so you helicopter like this, and it should break free. Okay, come on, should break free. There we go. Okay, so that way you don't have to snip it. Okay, and then what I'll do then is I'll do another tie just to bring the fibers back and build that little deal right behind here, and then I'll finish it off with the whip finish tool. Okay, and this is a variant. It's a near deer is what it's called, and to me, or a lot of folks call it basically a woolly bugger, which is very close to a woolly bugger. All right, and you can use your favorite head cement, your favorite glue, ultraviolet glue. I got this little ultraviolet deal. But I find just 2 wraps of a whip finish and you're good to go. And it's going to be tied, or it's going to be fished in, you tie it upside down, but it's fished like a jig head here. Okay. And there it is. Okay. Very simple tie. Okay. And that will get you a limit a lot of times where I fish. All right. And this is a short bodied one. I think the next one I make will probably be more of a longer body one, but let's go ahead and put that aside and we'll move on to the next fly. Okay. The next one is going to be really easy to tie, and I guess the big takeaway on it is, let's see, I got to make sure I've got everything on this one. I think I'm missing something. Yeah, I am. Shoot. Let me go grab it real quick. We're going to tie a mop fly. Okay, made with this little dust module thing here. All right, but first I'm missing a one important piece in the way I tie them. So I'll be back real quick. Let me just grab it. All right. Let's see. Is that it? No. Okay. Bear with me, I almost got it. All right, I almost got it. I just gotta find it. Sorry. Almost got it. All right, I found it. Come on, Charlie. Let's go. Let's get back. Can't leave him hanging. All right. Man, I thought I had everything. Thought I had everything ready to go, but I guess not. Okay. I was missing this deal. All right, and I'll show it to you here in a moment. All right, so the next one is going to be a mop fly. All right, and I don't know what it's supposed to represent other than it does catch fish at times, okay? Or often. And it's pretty easy to tie. Okay. So this one I'm going to use the heavier jig fly hook. It's the 1/80th. And oh, I forgot a tool too. Let me grab the tool. Holy cow, excuse me. Almost got it. Where is it? There it is. All right. Woo! I forgot my dubbing tool. Okay. It's this baby right here. All right. This one we're going to tie using a white thread. Okay. This is 1/40th, 140 something. Let me just show you. All right. 140. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll start off again with the fly, and we're going to tie it upside down again. I'm going to put it right in the vise where that hook is going to stick out, or not stick out, but it's going to be even with the jaws, and we'll lock it in place. Okay. Then we'll build the thread base like we've done previously. Okay. It seems like that's a standard thing to do. Build the thread base. Build the thread base. Every single fly I've tied basically has a thread base. And I think it does two things. One, it helps give it a little roughness for the material to hold versus on a naked shaft, blank shaft or whatever. Okay. All right. Next thing is you're going to grab your fancy dandy. It's from a little dust mop deal right here, and you're going to grab one of these little nodules right here, and this has lasted several seasons now. Holy cow. Yeah, I've had this one for several seasons, and you can see I can definitely get a lot out of it. Okay, and what you're doing is you're just kind of cutting off right here, dealy. And what I'll do is I'll kind of strip off a little bit on the end here, so I have something for it to hold on to. And here I'm going to tie it right where I know the hook bend or the hook point is even with the jaws here. And that's really where I'm going to try targeting to tie it in. Okay. And I'll start off with a couple of loose wraps just to secure it, and then or just to hold it in place, and then I'll tie it down. Okay. And then that's pretty much it. Oh, no, looks like I need to do more. So you know this is not going to work if you pull it off and it's still there. So let's do a do-over on that one. Okay. I need to tie it in some more. Okay. See, this is none of that editing mumbo jumbo. You're getting it live right here. Yours truly tying a fly, and that's kind of what the Average Angler Life is the name of the channel. Learn by my trials and errors, and maybe you'll catch a fish or two. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this again, and let me tie it in same spot, but I'm going to tie it in a little bit further back on that mop nodule, and then I'll lock it down. Okay. And we're going to lock it down tight. Okay. And what happens is this thing will kind of wiggle, and the trout, I don't know what they're thinking it is, but they hit it. Okay. All right. So what do you do with all that space here? Well, that's what I was getting earlier, and I just forgot what I did with it, and I found it. What I like doing is build a little collar. Okay. It's a collar that I can brush back over the little mop nodule dealy. And from there, it works out really good. And I like using, for that nodule, this Ice Dub UV Pearl deal. Okay. That one works really well, builds a nice little collar, and I think because it's ultraviolet, it looks very enticing to the trout when it's in the water. Okay. There's all kinds of ways you can tie it in there. You can get some dubbing wax and put it on your fingers, and you can kind of put it all in there and just kind of twist it on there. It works, and I've done that a lot of times. But what I like doing is I like using one of these dubbing tools. Okay, and what you're going to do is tie in a dubbing loop. Okay, so I'll see if I can show you. You kind of grab it like so, and then you kind of let it hang a little, and then you're going to go back and tie the other end onto the shaft. Okay, what you should have is this thing right here, a nice big open deal. Okay, and now let's kind of get this out of the way. And what I like doing then is I'll grab some of that dubbing flash or whatever, and you don't need much. I mean, you don't need much at all. And I'll kind of put it in between these two dillies. I'll show it to you here in a moment. Okay. Kind of get it right in between into that loop, like so. All right. And then all you do is twist, 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 twist. Keep twisting. There you go. All right. Nice and bushy looking and everything. All right. And then what you then do is you kind of slip this over so that now it's only on the one deal, and now you can tie it in. All right. So I'm going to start tying it in and building a collar like so. All right. And that's why I was using a white thread. I'll secure that dubbing loop just behind the jig head. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I'll cut the dubbing loop off right there. Everything's in place. And now I'll finish this off with a whip finish. I'll add a little collar to it there. And then I'll do a manual style whip finish. All right. Instead of using the whip finish tool, I'll just use my fingers. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 4 wraps, and you don't need any dubbing, head cement, anything. All right, and then what you want to do next is really just you grab some Velcro. Where's my Velcro? Man, I am not with it today. Where did I put my Velcro? Let me grab some Velcro. Got to show you exactly what I mean, so I want to grab some Velcro. All right, where's the Velcro? Where'd I put it? I think all right, where did I put the Velcro? Oh, man. I think I used the Velcro. Oh, wait, here we go. I can use this. Nice. All right, I found something. Okay. All right, I found some Velcro. You could have like a Velcro brush too and all that, but I got, oh man, this is a pretty strong Velcro too. All right. Okay. I'm just going to use this portion of it. And at this point, you're just going to kind of do this and bring back those fibers so it goes back over onto the mop. Okay. And when you fish it, it's going to have all these things. I mean, you can trim it. I don't trim it. I just leave it just like that. And having all that extra something there along with that nodule, bam, you're going to get hits. Okay. You don't have to go with this color. I've also done one with a little egg sac looking thing also. That works really well. Had some really good success there. Okay. So far, we've got an olive near deer. We've got the mop fly. This was the olive near deer. Oh, ground fog, how's it going? All right. We got the olive near deer, and that's more of a thinner bodied one. So the last fly I want to show you is the squirmy worm. All right, and this is one, for some reason, I fished it both without without a tandem rig. I've also fished it both where, what do you call it? With some split shot and no tandem rig. But I find that having a tandem rig works better because you have two chances. They're either going to hit that lead fly. Many times it's that olive near deer, or they're going to hit the squirmy worm. Okay, let's see. I glued a rough part of Velcro on the back of the fish. Oh yeah, that works too. Oh yeah. Let me think. So when I first tied these, I initially was tying it with just one of these deals. All right, and look at that thing stretch. Okay. All right. And then I found, why not use two? One this way, one that way, with a bead head in the middle. And that seems to work. All right. And this one, I won't use a jig fly hook. Instead, I'll just use a streamer hook and then a bead head. Okay. So let me find a streamer hook. All right. Where is it now? Size 14. Ooh, that's a little small. Size 14s. Holy cow, I thought I had some size 10s in here. Oh, it's on my desk, my fly tying desk. Who'd have thought? Let me go grab it now. I'll be back. Size 10 hooks. All right, size 10s. Let's see, where are these things here? Size 3X. These are too big. There. Size 8s. Size 6s. What are these? Size 8s. Well, dilemma. Watch out, kitty. I don't have any size 10s. I only got the jig fly hooks in size 10s. I found some size 8s, but I don't know if I'll be able to use size 8s because the bead heads I have may be a little too small, but I can at least demo it with a smaller size hook. Okay, so let's do that instead. Okay, size 14. Size 14. What is this one? Size 14. Let's go with this size 14. Okay, so I'm grabbing right here, size 14 hook. And these work really well with whatchamacallit, for bluegill too. They work really well for bluegill. So keep that in your back pocket when you're fishing warmer water and you're not targeting trout. You definitely can give this a try. Okay. All right, so let me grab one of these hooks. It can be very small, but sometimes smaller does work better in some cases for these guys. All right, let me see if I got a good bead head that we can use. Yeah, here we go. All right. All right, let's get this squirmy worm on the road here. Okay, so I'm going to tie it on a size 14 streamer hook, and I may have to adjust the jaws a little. Oh, no, I'm good. All right, so I'm going to, again, put the hook point just even with that jaw, so it's, I don't feel it right there. It's good, so it's even. Okay, so wherever that jaw point is right where I know where that hook meets or is perpendicular to the hook shank. Okay, and then I already made a boo-boo. So let's go fix that. I forgot to put the bead head. So put the bead head, then put it on there on your vise. All right, so let me just get that on here. Okay. All right, now I got it. And in this case, we're not going to put the bead head at the front. We're actually going to set it in the middle. Okay. And we're going to use this pink tying thread. And I'll start off with just, again, a thread base, but this time I'm starting in the middle. Okay. Like so. And we're actually going to do this in 2 steps. We're going to do behind and then in front. Okay. All right. So we'll build that thread base. Okay. And now we're going to get one of these little squirmy worms. I mean, I think it's the whoosh toy. It's a ball that you throw and play in the water. And then I got these at Walmart. It was a bracelet thing. Okay. Yeah, you can buy the one, you know, at Cabela's or Bass Pro or whatever. And I think that one has longer strips. What I find is this little deal right here. I mean, I think these things are like $1, I think. I think you get it at the dollar store. Yeah. So you just cut off one of these deal. And so you're going to have one in front of the bead and you're going to have another one ahead of the bead. And that's it. That's the fly. Okay. So what you want to do is first get it tied in. Okay. And it's going to go all over the place. We'll get it initially, start with a loose wrap and then lock it down. Okay. And then you can be really rough with it. Okay. So you see how it's kind of moving around on me? You just kind of keep twisting it. Let's move it back a little. All right. Keep twisting it. And I'm pulling it toward me as I tie it down, and I'm pulling it back so it's really thin. And there we go. So now I've got it even with the hook shank. Okay. Now I'm going to push this bead over that and secure it in place. But for now, we're going to finish this off. Okay. And then we're actually going to cut the line, and we're going to start over and tie in the front part. Okay. All right. So we'll just do a couple of whip finish dealies. And then I'll just cut it. Okay. It doesn't have to be exactly in line because it's going to be all over the place when you're fishing it. It's going to be bouncing and bouncing, and you're kind of twitching it, and they will hit it. I'm so amazed that they'll hit it. I think I made it too thick. All right, let's see if I can get it on there. Yeah, I made it way too thick, but I think I can force it. Yeah, I made it way too thick. All right, my bad. Bummer, I was liking this one too. Let me see if I can twist it. The main thing you want to do is get your bead head butted up against where you tied in the, and I probably should have made it a lot thinner because what you want is that bead head right there. Okay. But let's see if I can cheat it a little bit and kind of cut some of that off. Get some of that. And then I think I can coax it to go in. Yeah. All right, I think I got it. And lesson learned here is you don't need to make it as thick as I did. I think I just overdid it when I was tying it in. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and, all right, there it is. You want this bead all the way over here. Okay, so I'm going to try cutting this wrap a little bit. Then I think I can get it in there. And again, if I think if I kept tying it down as I stretched it, it would have also done it. But I think you get the gist of it, where one, tie in the front piece and then tie in the back piece. I think I got it getting loose now. Sometimes it's better just to start over, but I'm trying to fight it here. Yeah. Okay. Let's call it. We'll start over, because it's the one good thing about this is you can quickly recover. So all I'm doing now is I'm just doing it. Okay. I think back in the day, I used to keep fighting it, and I'd go and try making it work. And next thing I know, I have a not so good looking fly. And then next thing I know, that fly I try taking out, and I'm not catching anything. All right. And, you would think that with this style fly, the fish don't care. But I've had it where I've had, I tie them in threes. I'll have 3 of these flies. They look identical, except maybe one of them is just slightly different, where I just kind of skipped something, did something wrong, and I didn't fix it and just said, I just got through it. And next thing I know, it's not catching anything, so. All right. Let me get this undone. The quick way is to use a lighter, but I don't have a lighter on me. When I say a lighter, all you do is you burn off the threads once you get the plastic material off, and you can start over. But hey, this is live streaming. You get to see everything here. And so the mistake I made was I tied in that tail, that little squirmy worm tail, and I tied it in too thick to where I couldn't get the bead head in place to where I wanted it to go. And so now I'm starting over. Okay. I have a little bit of thread on there, but I think we'll be okay. Okay. So let me go ahead and get us back to where we were. Okay. Bead head is on there. I'm going to tie in loose deal of thread here, wraps. Okay. All right. I'm going to grab one of these squirmy wormies. Yeah, I use this tandem rig setup on the lower Illinois River up in Oklahoma, over there closer to Tulsa. And yeah, I used it on a tandem rig with a near deer and these squirmy worms. And they were just tearing everything up on the squirmy worm. They did not want the near deer, but it did help having it, because what was important there was I was getting the fly down where the trout were lurking. So they weren't deep, but they weren't shallow. They were kind of lingering closer to the bottom, and that fly had to be presented to them in their zone, and they would hit. If you went past the zone or under the zone, you were pretty much ignored. Okay. All right. I think I got it now. Okay. So at this point, I'm just trying to get the tail back to where I want it. Okay. There we go. I got it. All right. So now I've got a thin dealie. Let me go ahead and tie it in real quick with some whip finishes, and then I'll cut it off. And now you'll see that thread, or the bead head, will go back where I want it to, just like that. That's what I was wanting right there. Okay. Let's see. Oh, someone retracted something. Okay. All right. And then it looks like Marty's on. Okay. Hi, Marty. And then there was another person. He was. I glued a rough part. Oh, yeah. We called that one out earlier. All right, cool. All right. So we got the back half. We're halfway there. And in this case, I'm going to continue using the same color thread, even though it's different than the other one. I mean, I could probably go with another pink squirmy worm thing, but I'm not. Okay, so we're just going to build another loose deal of thread here. Okay, and get that tied down. Okay. And now we're going to get the other color right here. Might as well use two colors, you know. All right, so this one we're going to tie in like so, and build a collar as well. This one's kind of weird though. How am I going to get it tied in there? So let's see. Let's start off up here. All right. And I'm going to start with some loose wraps. Okay. Some loose wraps just to have it in place. Adjust this a little bit by turning. Okay. Do the same here. Okay. And then here I'm going to, let's see. I want it actually close to the bead, as close as I can. All right, because, all right, right there. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to tie this in. I'm going to pinch it off, just that little end of it, the tail end of it here. Some loose wraps. Okay, come on, loose wraps. Ah, okay, another way. Loose wraps, 1, 2. I'll adjust it, okay, and then I'm gonna slowly tighten up on it, just so I don't lose it. Okay, right there. Now I'm gonna lock it down and build up this deal here. So you see that little deal sticking up? We're gonna cut that off, but first we're going to. Actually, no, we can go ahead and cut it off. And you can pull tight, like so, just as tight as you can, and then snip, and it'll slide back down under, okay? And then at this point, it's going to look like so. We'll tie in another deal here. And that's it, okay? And then this will slide back and forth, but you can put some glue on there and whatnot, but there it is. All right. Now you can get fancy and you can kind of slide the bead over. You can move the bead over here. You can actually even do a little dubbing to kind of cover it up if you want, but that works right there. It does a little shaky shake, and it's easy to tie. Okay, you saw how easy that was. Tie the back, tie the front, or you can go the other way. All right, it's up to you. That collar kind of reminds me of like an earthworm nightcrawler collar. The fish don't care. They hit it, and the thing you got to be careful, especially with bluegill, is when they grab it and they're pulling. You think you got a good bite, but what they're doing is they're pulling on this elastic piece. That's with bluegill. With trout, they just hit it. Okay, they hit it, they swallow it, and you just make sure you set the hook in time and don't miss the hook set. Okay. All right, I've got some more tying to do, but I don't want to bore you with repetitiveness here, so I'm just going to recap what we did. All right, we tied an olive near deer. Okay, we tied variant of the mop fly that uses this crystal flash dubbing collar, and then we tied a squirmy worm. All right, and those are some go-to fishing flies that I like using when I head out to the Blue River up in Oklahoma, which was stocked yesterday. All right. Okay. So with that, all for now. Next time we'll catch y'all later. Good luck. Good fishing.